The real estate market has been shaken by a new court ruling known as the NAR Settlement, the National Association of Realtors Settlement. And the news network media and social media have been describing it as a major hit to buyers, buyers' agents, and even sellers. What's being said is home prices will drop significantly due to this new ruling. Also, buyers are going to incur an extra expense that they did not have to deal with before, which is paying the buyer agent commission of buyer agents. Finally, they claim that most of the agents, especially buyer agents, are going to leave the real estate profession. So, will home prices decline? Will buyers have to pay the commission of the buyer's agents? Finally, are real estate agents threatened to lose their careers and jobs? I will answer all these important questions in today's episode of my real estate series, Real Estate Tips, episode number 33. Very interesting episodes. Stay tuned because this episode is like no other. I'm James Abdelmalik with Keller Williams Palos Verdes and Keller Williams Luxury International. I'm a California realtor and I love helping clients sell homes or buy homes. Welcome to my real estate series, Real Estate Tips, episode number 33. I'm James Abdelmalik. I'm a California realtor and I love helping people either sell homes or buy homes or invest in real estate. And I love making educational videos that help my viewers invest in real estate in a smart way, make bargain purchases, and sell homes at top dollar values. All these decisions will help you in making a more profitable real estate transaction experience. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook business page, James Abdelmalik Realtor, and follow me on Instagram. So what is this NAR ruling that everybody's talking about, and how the news media handled it in a very strange and, my opinion, poor way in describing what the outcome of this NAR settlement will be? Is this court ruling that the news media are claiming will force home prices to decline and put a new burden on the buyers? And are all buyer agents threatened? Are their career at jeopardy? Before I answer all these important questions, I want to explain what the ruling that led to these claimed conclusions. But before that, I want, in very simple terms, describe how a real estate transaction works before this new ruling. So when I do explain the ruling, it will make sense to you. In any real estate transactions, there are two parties. First party is a seller who is represented by a listing agent. This listing agent has a primary role to negotiate and look after the best interest of the client seller, which is maximum dollar amount and minimum repairs or credits to the buyer involved. The second party involved in a real estate transaction is the buyer. The buyer is represented by a buyer's agent, and the buyer agent's main primary role is to look after the best interest and negotiate on the buyer's behalf against the seller, which is lowering the purchase price or claiming repairs or credits from the sellers. The way this framework works, after a successful closing of a transaction, the seller would use the money he received from the buyer to pay the listing agents and the buyer agents. Let me give you an example. Let's say a seller calls me up and say, I want to sell my home. So I prepare a valuation, a free home valuation for my client, the seller, and a comparative market analysis, and show the seller my marketing plan, how I'm going to market his home and sell it for top dollars. Then I inform him the fee he needs to pay is a listing fee, which is 2.5% for the listing brokerage, my brokerage, and 2.5% for the buyer brokerage or the buyer agent. And I never had an objection from any of my sellers about paying the buyer agent. The reason for that is because I explained to them, we want to hire all the buyer agents in California to bring you a buyer. There is about 205,000 buyer agents licensed in California. Each one of them may have a qualified and motivated buyer. So we want to bring them to the table so that they would bring us the buyer and they would earn their 2.5%. And no seller ever objected to this logic. So me as a listing agent, I market the home on the MLS. So the buyer agent will bring a qualified and motivated buyer. The problem is many people underestimate the buyer agent. The buyer agent does so many things. The major perception is the buyer agent just shows the home or gives access to the home, but the buyer agent does a lot of things behind the scenes. I will leave the tasks that a buyer agent does in the comment section so that you guys could know. And I don't want to waste your time by talking about what a buyer agent does, but he's like your attorney who looks after your best interest and negotiates on your behalf, negotiates on the buyer's behalf, looking after his best interest. The listing agent now will market the home that is put on the market by putting it on the MLS. The MLS is the multiple listing service that advertises across the nation, across the US, to all realtors all over the country about the new home that is advertised for sale, where all the realtors can see it. And at the same time, the listing agent will also display on the MLS the compensation that is offered to the buyer agent as an incentive to bring a qualified and motivated buyer, because no buyer agent is going to work for free. And after the listing agent advertises on the MLS feeds all the other real estate platforms like Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com, all the other real estate websites you can imagine and platforms. They're advertising what the home is sold for and what is so special about that home. So now we understand how the real estate process works. What is this new ruling that shook the real estate industry? The ruling had many aspects, but the two main aspects that will affect the real estate market are as follows. Number one, it is no longer allowed to advertise on the MLS a compensation from the seller to the buyer's agent. Number two, every single buyer seeking to buy real estate or a home in the real estate market must sign, and I repeat, must sign a buyer-agent agreement with the agent to have a binding commitment where in this agreement, the buyer will agree with the buyer agent about paying the buyer agent a commission for his services. So what do these rulings mean? Why is the news media and the social media claiming it will lower home prices, harm buyers, and damage buyers' agents? The problem is people working in the news just want to create a trend. Here is what the media assumed. And remember, these are only assumptions by the media, which I will address. Number one, sellers do not have to pay commissions to buyers' agents. Number two, buyers will be forced to pay commissions to buyer's agent. Number three, home prices will go down because the sellers save on commissions and buyers will have to pay the extra expense of the buyer agent commission. Number four, real estate agents will go out of business because buyers agents will not be able to survive under the new law or the new framework of the new ruling because many buyers will not afford to pay that buyer agent commission. Let's examine and analyze these rulings. So what I'm about to share with you is to show you the importance of having a smart professional analyze the data and find legal loopholes to benefit his clients. Regarding the first conclusion that the sellers will no longer have to pay the commission to the buyer's agent and buyers will have to pay. This is an extremely ignorant conclusion from the media because the ruling does not state seller no longer pays commission. The ruling simply states no more commission advertisement on the MLS. But the seller can still offer commission to the buyer agent, but on a different platform, like the listing agent website, like a communication of emails between the listing agent and the buyer agent. So the seller can still offer compensation, but just not on the MLS. Number two, the seller is no longer paying the commission for the buyer agent, and the buyer is paying the commission of the buyer agent on his own. This is true only if a buyer is working with an unskilled or inexperienced agent who is poor in negotiations. If you are working with a skilled negotiator, he will get that commission from the seller and not his buyer client. Because if the prior points I just mentioned, if any buyer approaches me, I will have that buyer sign a buyer agreement and have him sign what commission he's going to pay me, but I'm going to assure him that commission will be paid by the seller and not him or herself. So buyers should not worry about that part, about signing such an agreement, because if you're working with a skilled agent, you will not have to pay it. The buyer agent will get it from the seller, only if he's a good negotiator. Third point, because of this ruling, home prices are going to go down. I don't see how they reach that conclusion, but as a general rule, home prices are only affected by the amount of inventory in the market. It's a supply and demand. All what's happening here has no effect on that. So if inventory increases significantly in the market, that would make prices go down. This can only happen if inventory in the market significantly increases and or buyers' purchasing power drastically declines. Currently, the inventory still remains low. And as for the purchasing power of the buyers, the sellers will help out the buyers in the commission burden added to them. That's per the prior point I just mentioned. And they will help him pay the buyer agent commission, because all what the seller cares about is selling his home. Number 4, will the buyer agents exit the profession? There are 2 types of agents in the real estate market: a listing agent and a buyer agent. Every single listing agent is also a buyer agent. There is no such thing as just a listing agent and not a buyer agent. Every listing agent is also a buyer agent. But there are some buyer agents who are not listing agents. They just work as buyer agents. So will the buyer agents exit the market? Here's what I have to tell you about that. Every buyer agent from now on will need to sign a buyer agent agreement with his buyer. And that buyer agreement will state a commission that will be paid to the buyer's agent from the buyer. So from now on, all buyers will think very carefully which agent they are signing up with, because they are actually paying that agent money. So that means they will be looking for an experienced and exceptional, knowledgeable agent who is an expert negotiator. So the agents who are doing real estate part-time, get their businesses from friends, will be left behind. New licensees who do not have proper training will be left behind. Agents who are weak negotiators will be left behind. Discount agents will be left behind. Only the knowledgeable and skilled agents who are experts in negotiations will make it in this new market. Now that I addressed what will actually happen based on a professional analysis, I know some of you, and I mean potential buyers, will say, I will not sign any agreement with a buyer agent. Or I will go directly to the listing agent and work with him. Or I will sign an agreement with the agent who charges me the lowest commission. These are all appear to be very smart ideas, but are they going to work? Let's look at these ideas one by one. The first idea, I will not sign any buyer agent agreement with any buyer agents. I'm just gonna look at the homes without signing anything. By law, there is no agent in the country who will show you a home without signing a buyer agreement from now on, because it's required by law and he could be threatened to lose his license. So that's not going to happen. You're not going to find an agent who's going to give you an access to a home without you signing a commitment with him. That's number 1. Number 2, and a lot of people thought of that, I will go directly to the listing agents and sign a buyer agent agreement with that listing agent. And at the same time, he will make the home, in multiple bid situation, go to me. Many times I've heard this, but let me explain why that's not going to work, or if it works, it's not going to be in your favor. There's two problems with that idea. First, how many other buyers do you think are going to try that idea or even thought of that idea before you? So in a multiple offer situation, you're going to find like 7 different buyers or 10 different buyers going to the same listing agent, hoping that they will help them out in either reducing the price or making the offer go to them. So what are you going to think that listing agent is going to do? Assuming he chooses you, he's going to choose the buyer who has the highest price so he can make more commission. And he's going to choose the buyer who's paying him the highest buyer agent commission. There's another problem that many people don't see in this also, and that's a big problem. The fiduciary duty of the listing agent is towards the seller. He's negotiating on the seller's behalf. He owes loyalty to the seller. He's trying to get him the maximum dollar amounts. So he's going to try to get the seller the maximum dollar amount, and you have to pay more. He's going to try to get him the least amount of repairs he would repair. And if there is any issues, he will just try to go through it quickly so that you would sign and the house is sold. So you're really thinking that you're saving a few thousands by working with the listing agents, which you're not, but it's actually costing you thousands of dollars that you will discover later on. So that's the problem of working with the listing agent. The third idea, I will sign an agreement with the agent who charges me the lowest commission. This is a very common mistake a lot of buyers will fall in, going to a discount agent. You should sign the agreements not with the discount agent who offers you the lowest commission. You should sign the agreement with the agent who has the best negotiating skills to get you the best possible deal on your house. If you go to a discount agent, I can tell you right now that this agent is an extremely poor negotiator. The reason is the agent is a poor negotiator is if you on the first meeting with that agent were able to negotiate from that agent to reduce his commission to that extent. And he is supposed to be a professional negotiator. How good do you think that agent is going to do in negotiating the purchase price of the home you're trying to buy? If he had no problem negotiating down his rightful earnings, how good do you think he will negotiate in a closed setting with a listing agent on your personal money, on your behalf, which does not belong to him? Those agents who discount themselves have no business because they are no good at what they do. So they try to get whatever business they can by enticing clients and run with it. The few thousands you think you save on commission will cost you much more thousands later on. But if you hire an expert negotiator, he will get the money off of the seller and not off of you. You will be paying $0. Buying a home is the most expensive investment you will ever make, and you will need the best negotiator who can negotiate on your side. So to wrap things up, do not believe what the media says about home prices going down, and buyers, do not worry about paying commission. But buyers, you will need to sign buyer's agreements from now on with your buyer agents. And when you do, make sure you are signing with a skilled realtor, not a discount realtor, because that skilled realtor will get the commission from the seller, even if it claims on the agreement that you will pay it yourself. A skilled realtor will not make you pay the commission. Well, there you have it. That's all what the new ruling is about, and these are the changes that happened in the real estate market by this new real estate ruling, which is known as the NAR Settlements, the National Association of Realtors. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel to be informed of my upcoming video. And if you ever want to sell a home or buy a home or invest in real estate anywhere in California, call me on the number shown on screen. And if you're looking to buy a home or sell a home anywhere in the United States, text me on the number shown on screen, and it will be my pleasure to refer to you an amazing agent to help you work with and all the agents I work with are amazing negotiators, very skilled and exceptional. See you in my next video. God bless.